text. So we're going to talk about text formatting and how you can format your text. So when I come here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a div as usual. Instead of that div, I'll bring in a h1. So my heading, I'm also going to bring a p tag. Use lorem to generate text of lorem 200. Click it, put cursor here, break it. So save. So now let me put this by the side. Bring this closer. Let me remove this. Minimize this. Okay. So now let me bring in. Let me bring in this. Let me use this. So copy part, and paste it here. We paste it here. So this is it. Now let's start from the first thing when it comes to text. So what I'll do here is I'm going to bring in our style sheet. So style, let's call the h1. So we have what we call the text decoration. So the job of text decoration is that what it's going to do. So we have the text decoration. It is used to put on a line under a text. So we have text decoration. You can watch the h1. We have line through. Line through will put line under the text, through the text. Sorry. So through the text. We have underline. So underline is going to put text under the text. Now, mind you, the fact that we can put underline under a text, you should not put it on every text, because the user might view that any text with underline as a link. So it's always advisable not to put it in any, like for example your p tag. You can't just put underline on your p tag. So in your h1 you might be permitted to do that. You can use it and design it. So but when it comes to the normal your p tag, where the text are small, you should not use the underline. Reason why is because by default your anchor tag comes with the underline. Let me bring in text inside of here. So your anchor tag just comes with the underline by default. So when I refresh, you can see it by default the anchor tag comes with the underline. So it's not advisable to put underline under other text, because people might view it as a link too. So now another thing about this underline that is in the text, I can still call this anchor tag now and say curly braces text decoration. I can say none, removing that underline that is there if I want. So text decoration underline. So now let me bring back the other one. So we have the text decoration line 2 that we just talked about. Line 2, we comment on it. I put line 2 the text. We also have another one. We have is it so we have text decoration overline. So this one puts the line above that particular word or that text. We put line above the text. Now another thing we have is what we call text align. So text align can be used to move your text left and right. So for this h1, I can move it to the center. I can say text align center. When I do that, refresh, you see the text, the h1 in the center. You can say move it to the right. So you can say right. It moves to the right. So now, but I'm going to leave it in the center. So leave it in the center and I refresh back to the center. So another thing we can do is we can also apply. We have another text align. Now for example, this p tag, I'm going to call the p tag down here. So p tag curly braces, and then I'm going to give it a width. So a width of, let me say, 60%, and I refresh. This is what a width of 50% is. 60% is. Now you can see that the text, it is rough at this point here. So you see it's very rough. Now let me increase it so I can be able to shrink this text 70%. So you can see this side is very rough. Now if you don't want it to look like this, you can do what? You can come here and use, so you can come here and use, so if you don't want it to be rough, let me make this comfortable. So if you don't really want it to be this rough, you can use text align here again. So we have text align justify. So when you apply text align justify, it smooths the particular part, make it look like your magazines. So what it does is that it's going to stretch the text in order to fill up this all the whole space that is here. So now another thing we have again is we have what we call word space. So we have what we call word space. So let's start from letter space. We have letter spacing. So letter spacing, you can give it any number that you want in pixel. When you refresh, it's going to space each letter. If you put negative, it's going to cluster it. So it's going to cluster it together. Negative value clusters it together. Don't mind that you're not seeing it here, it just clustered at this other side. So what letter spacing is just there to space the letter. So then we have another one, comment on it. So we have another one we have is that we have the word space or word spacing. So word spacing, I can give it any number again as you want. So any number, its job is just to space each word. Before I put the word spacing, let me return it back first. So I refresh. Now let's refresh to bring back the word space. So when you put the word space, now look at this. So now another thing we have is what we call line height. So line height, it is used to put space between lines of text, between each line. Like this is your first line, this is the first line. The space between this first line and this other line, you can you can increase it if you want. So in this one here, you don't need to put unit in it. If you are given this value, try to use smaller value between like 1.3, 1.4, something like that. If you try to use bigger value like 4, it's going to be very big. This is 4. So this is line height. So 4 is very huge. So in reality, what we use in one video project, what we use is like 1.8 or so. So that is the kind of line space. That one is acceptable. So, or even less if you want. So try not to be using bigger value. Try not to put bigger value. So now we also have what we call so we have our text format, text transform, sorry. So text transform. So we have the lowercase. What this lowercase does is that it's going to make every single capital. You can notice that there is capital letter here. So it's going to convert all the capital letter to what? Lowercase. So we also have uppercase also. If you want to convert it to uppercase, So you can say uppercase to uppercase, everything becomes capitalized. So it will become in capital letter. We also have capitalize. So capitalize, what capitalize does is that it focuses on every first letter. So you focus on every first letter, converting it to capital letter. So now we also have another one that is similar to this. We call that one font variant. So font variant. So font variant. So it's small capital, is small caps. So font variant small caps, you can be able to, it's going to convert it to capital letter, but very tiny. So next thing we have is font width. So we have font width. So font width. So this font width has this value from 100 to 900, or you can go ahead and use your bolder, bold, so on. So I'm going to use 900, which is the highest value you can put here. I'm going to make it, this is how bold it can be, the highest value you can make it. So we also have font style. So font style. So we have italic. So you're just going to convert font style to italic. This is it. So you convert it to italic. So we also have another one called the oblique. So we have font style oblique. But the thing with oblique is that oblique is not widely accepted by every browser. It's not widely accepted, so it's always advisable that if you want to convert it to italic, just write your font style italic. So you can see the thing is working very well. So but when you check in other browser, it may not work. So another thing we have again is, so we have white space. So we have white space. So we have no wrap. So white space, no wrap. Now what this white space no wrap does is that now by default the thing is white space wrap. So you can, if you notice now, when I gave this thing with the thing just form a block, like the way the thing is now, this text is in a block form. So what the white space no wrap will do is it removes it from this block form and make it to stand in a very straight, linear, straight line. So you can, there's nothing you can do now to break this text. There's nothing you can do to break it. Now you'll be asking, where do we use this? It's your choice anywhere you want to use it, but the truth is that the most part where I find myself using this kind of stuff is in logo. Like for example, you are creating a website where you are the one, your logo, you are not designed, you don't have an image that you have designed, or you don't have an icon that you designed. What you want to use is the name. You want to write the name purely there instead of that website and design it as the logo. So in that situation, you don't want a logo that breaks. You don't want a logo that when you write it, for some reason the thing will just the ing, like if this was the logo, the ing will go down. So you can just put what, white space no wrap. So when you do that automatically, no matter what you do, that logo will never break. So now another thing we have again is font family. So we have what we call font family. So now, we have the cursive. Let me refresh and show you that. So font family is just a way of changing the display of the text. You can see right now the way the text just changed, looks different. So we have another one. We have fantasy. We have fantasy. There are many font family, and the thing about font family is that you cannot cram it. It's not something that you know like that commonly. So whenever you want a font family, you can just go to Google, you can just type font family, and you're going to see a lot of font family, and you can pick whichever one that you prefer. So now let me pick the particular one let me show you something. So when I initially wrote the font family, you see this line, you can see for these particular ones. Now what this thing means is that there's what we call font fallback. So font fallback, so it's just a way to show that most font family are not widely accepted. So they're not widely accepted by all browsers. So now let me pick one font family, this place where you are seeing multiple font family. So now what this thing means is that these font family are all similar to each other. They are all similar. So in a situation where let me refresh, you see this font, this is the font. So in a situation where the browser at this point now, the Korean new is the one that is taking effect. So this font fallback is there so that if the browser does not accept any font family, it will fall back to the second one or the next one. So if there is anything wrong with the Korean new font family that is here, it will fall back to Korea. And if you look now, Korea is very identical to Korean new. If there is anything wrong with the Korean new, it's going to fall back to this Korea. It will fall back to monospace. So it will fall back to monospace. So this is how the font family is structured. So but if there is anytime you are writing font family and you need a specific kind of font family and you don't know it, you can just go to Google, type font family. You're going to see different design. So you're going to see as many different design of font family as you want. So now we have what we call word spacing. So we have what we call word spacing. So now let me go to this H. There's what we call text shadow. Sorry. So we can put shadow to every text. So now this particular H1, I'm going to come up here. Alright, I'm going to return it to the center. So if you want to apply shadow to a text, all you just need to do is just write text shadow, then apply two values there. Two values, splitting it into two. So two values splitting it into two. And I refresh, watch the H1. It's now into two. If I highlight, you're going to see the original text. The one behind it is the shadow. So the one behind it is the shadow. So the first value that you see here is pushing it forward. Wait, let me increase it. So the first value is pushing it forward, while the second value is pushing it downward. That is the shadow. So now let me return it back to the smaller value. So when I refresh, use it. So when I highlight, so you can see now this shadow, you can also apply color to the shadow. So you can also apply color to the shadow. Give it color if you want. You can also make that shadow blurry. So you can make that shadow blurry by adding a third value there. When you add a third value, that shadow is going to be blurry. Now if you want to put shadow above, you can also do that also. All you just need to do is come to this part where you already put shadow, put comma. Now you use negative value. So negative 7px and negative 5px. But now watch this two shadow now is going to go upward in the going opposite direction. The -7 is pushing it this way. So let's increase it so you know where it's pushing it. So we have 73. So it's pushing it toward the left. So the first value here, the second one is pushing it upward. So the second one is pushing the shadow upward. You can see it at the top. I think I gave it too much value. Let me return it. So it is pushing it upward. So now let me so now just like the other shadow, that the red one that we made blurry, we can also make this shadow blurry. But the thing is that if you want to make it blurry, you cannot give it a negative value. like the way you cannot give it a negative value. The only value that can have negative is only the first two values. So here I can just give this thing here 8px again. You can use any number that you want. The more number you added, the more blurry it's going to get. The less number that you put there, the less blurry it's going to be. So when I refresh, this is it. So now also if you want to put shadow on your block of text, now let's say you have multiple text and you want to put shadow there. So what you will do is we have what we call box shadow. So this one is for when you want to put shadow for a bigger text like this p tag. Now you want the whole p tag to have a shadow. So you go to that p tag. What you use now, don't you can the text shadow can work here, but it will just behave like the initial one that I just showed you. So in this situation, we're going to use what box shadow, and it's exactly the same value. It's exactly the same value that you give to this particular one that you can give to it also. So I can just say 5px 7px. So this will just split, and you can see the shadow now. If I put negative now, the shadow will not be at the upper side. So I can come here and do what, make that shadow blurry, and majority of the time whenever you're giving something shadow, black is always the best. So I can come here, give that shadow uh, make the shadow blurry. This is it. And make it more blurry. The more value you add there, you can increase the value if you want. The more value you add there, all know that that value is going to make it more blurry. So this is how you add shadow. So let me put padding here. Always make sure whenever you're applying something, padding always makes it look nicer. So padding, always use for space. We have talked about it last time. So padding is space inside of an element. So space inside of the element. So this is it for your text formatting. These are the basic things that you need whenever you're formatting text. So is there any question? Any question? Okay. So I believe there is no question. So we'll see you next week, our next lecture. So see you in our next class.